Welcome everybody again to the second episode of Uncut. This beautiful May 1st day, Wednesday. It's gorgeous outside. I want to give a shout out and thanks again to Justin and the Optic audio team for this great product and all the wonderful work that they have been putting in to bring this venture to life. My dream. It has been wonderful thus far. I'm really excited and anxious to just get this thing rolling and moving forward. So, uncut, and that's exactly where we're going with it today. Uncut. Last week we talked a few brief snippets about loyalty and friendship and a few other things tied into that. And I really just wanted to pour my feelings and personal opinions and emotions out to you guys so you could get a gist of where I'm coming from. And that's going to be on a weekly basis. I mean, I want you guys to understand this is opinionated. A lot of the statements that I'm going to give will be substantiated by facts. I told you in the last episode, I'm just not going to be talking some foolish rhetoric, any baseless claims. I like to support what I talk about with facts. I'm not going to talk about things that I don't know, I'm not privy to, and I'm not privileged to do so. So with that being said, today, we're not going to bounce around, but it's probably going to seem like it a little bit because I got a lot of stuff to talk about in a very short period of time. So we're going to kick it off like this. It's going to kind of stem from loyalty from last week. I want to talk about support. And I'm not talking about child support, y'all. I'm talking about friendship support, community support, family support for individuals alike, okay? Now, I'm going to be talking a little bit about ex-offenders, men and women coming home from incarceration, coming home from rehabs, coming home from doing any amount of time anywhere, and how is the community support for these individuals? And I want to talk about this because this applies to me right now. So this is kind of personal. I'm not offended in any way by the lack of support from any one person or any group of individuals. I'm just ever aware that the show of support around me isn't probably what I thought or expected it to be. And that's okay because I usually set my expectations pretty high. You know, there's a quote that says you shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you still land amongst the stars. So I like to shoot high, my expectations. So I came home from prison a few years ago, but my prison stint was, I believe, my proving ground, my training, my boot camp, so to speak. And I know I've spent a few years incarcerated, so I've had quite a few stints in boot camp, so to speak. And we'll just leave it there. We'll get into that at a later date. This time was majorly important for me because during this time, I really took time to focus and work on Kane. I wanted to be able to come home this time and really close the page on that chapter in my life. So many times when I've come home, my friends and family, acquaintances have heard me say never again. I'm not going back. I've changed. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And there were things that changed about me, a great deal. But one of the major things that didn't change about me was the lack of love that I think I had for myself. And I just wasn't aware of it until this last time I was locked up. So I spent about 2 or 3 years really digging in to find out what was really going on inside of me. Why is it that I found it so easy to turn back to my old ways, knowing that prison or death was going to be the end of that run? I've told people before, I'm not afraid to die. I've seen so many things in my life. I've escaped death quite a few times, and I just lost the fear for that. I've had a lot of great experiences in my life. I've been a lot of places. So I feel like I've lived, a pretty full life, traveling and things like that. And I know that there is so much more that I ambitious to do. And I believe I will get most of that done. But anyway, so I started to realize that at the core of my problem was love, self-love. Now, my family and those that are close to me know that when I said that I love them, I sincerely meant it wholeheartedly. But I truly believe that in order to love someone, anyone, fully, you have to love yourself first. Truly. If you don't understand what loving yourself means and what it does to you in whole, then you can never really love anyone else fully and properly. Is that my opinion? Yes, absolutely. Do I believe it to be facts? Yes, absolutely. The reason I say so is because now, upon my return from prison a few years ago, learning to love me more than I love anything else in this life, I have been able to love those around me extremely better. I've come to understand what it is that they need and desire of me as an individual, as a son, a brother, an uncle, a great uncle, a friend. So when I decided to start this business, my tattoo shop, the barber shop, the art gallery, the tarot shop with Katrina, the show of support that I got from my family and loved ones was astounding. I was scared as hell. I ain't gonna lie. I was scared as hell. I had never done anything like this. I had not a clue of how to run a business like this. I've had businesses before, the home improvement business, a subcontractor as a welder for a few years, but nothing like this. And I didn't do this for anybody else. I mean, anybody who goes into business for somebody else is just doing it for all the wrong reasons. But I did this because this has always been a dream and a goal of mine, to own a tattoo shop and a barber shop all in one. I just for about 10 years, man, I've always felt like that would be the neatest thing. I would even like to have like a little sports lounge in here, maybe in the future, for people to just come and, you can get coffee, tea, maybe some snacks, and a couple TVs on the wall. I got some TVs now, anybody would tell you that. But anyway, but the show of support was amazing. People that I hadn't heard from in a long time when I posted stuff on Facebook and Instagram, and, my nieces made some TikTok videos for me and things like that. People were just like, oh my God, Kane, it's amazing. I'm super proud of you. I'm so happy for you. Where is it at? Where's it going to be located? What are your hours? All this stuff. And October, we got the place. November, we opened. Now, for the whole month of October, I must have got, I don't know, 100, I think it was like 140 some emails and text messages from people inquiring and showing support verbally. Opening day, we had 8 people show up. Opening day, the grand opening of the shop. That week, Justin.
Also, I was just going to say, I think you should speak more about the shop, too, because we didn't talk about that in the first episode.
Oh, I'm definitely going to let them know about the shop.
Yeah. You should drop the address and everything in this one.
Yeah, I got you. Well, listen, guys, I'm gonna give you all the information on the shop at the end of this podcast, or actually maybe midway through, and then again at the end. So if you just get tired of hearing my voice, you'll at least have the address sooner rather than later. So then for that week, I was depressed as hell, man. I was sick. I was like, are you serious? 8 people show up. Now, granted, I think it was raining that day, and it may have been on like a Wednesday, I think. So I said, okay, let's run the grand opening for the whole week. So I ran it. It was a Wednesday. So I ran it to the following Wednesday. I sent text messages, emails, posted it on Facebook, on Instagram, everywhere I could think of, bro, saying, hey, listen, the shop is open, come support a brother, come see what we got, no pressure to buy anything. Just stop in, see what we got going on. One first week, man, I had 61 people show up. 61 people. Of the 61 people, it may have been 10 people who I knew. Now, I just told you it was about 140 emails and text messages I got from people that I knew said, I can't wait for this place to open, we'll be there. When it opens, we'll be there. Needless to say, I didn't lock the doors and call it quits after that. I didn't get depressed and down in the dumps. New businesses are tough, man. The first year, first 18 months. I mean, it is what it is.
Well, and especially in this location, I think the summer will probably be a lot better for you guys with all the foot traffic around here.
Absolutely, especially being right here in the square.
Yeah.
That's really going to be good. And I mean, I've been getting a lot of show of support from like even other small businesses around here too. Passing out cards and flyers for me. So that's really going to help expand the customer base.
Yeah, I saw your cards over at, I think it was like the Tobacco Hut or something. And I was like, oh, nice.
Yep, Tobacco Hut. I believe we had some over at Gypsy Mermaid. We have some over at Greer's.
Oh, okay, the burger place.
Yeah, the burger spot. Yeah, that's a good place. You guys need to check that out. Anyway, so I was like, where is the show of support? Where's the show of support? I'm not asking you to come here and buy nothing. Just show up. Let me see your face. So I had to get a thick skin pretty fast, man. Realizing that it wasn't going to happen as fast as I wanted it or fast as I thought it was going to happen. And that's okay. You feel me? That's okay. Because people have things going on in their lives. Shit happens, man. Cars break down. Daughters get pregnant, or, who knows, man? And I have no ill will. I don't feel any kind of way, about people who have constantly still for the past 6 months, 7 months have claimed they were coming and have yet to show up. I mean, that's cool. I've experienced that shit my whole life, not even just in business, but people showing up to begin with, for anything. I'm having a cookout, bro. Come through. I promise. I swear I'll be there. I'm even going to bring chips. Yeah, no show. So, But I want to talk about that for a minute, man, because I'm not the only business. I'm not the only person who has experienced this. So I really want to talk about that for a minute. Like, why is it that we can't stand committed to our words? Like, listen, man, I know I have told people I was going to do things for them in the past or, hell, even recently, and I fumbled. I didn't make it. I couldn't get it done. I had a homeboy a couple weeks ago ask me to come watch his son play basketball. I told him I'd be there. I couldn't make it. And I know it probably bothered him a little bit because he really wanted me to catch him this last game he had. Anyway, but we just find it so hard to commit and act. And it is devastating. It is devastating, not so much on like the business aspect of it, but it's devastating on the individual. Like sometimes it's a deterrent. Sometimes, it can enrage you. It can end friendships. It can, just cause drama. All of these things. So it's like, I really want to know what people think about that, man. Like, for me, I've thought about it. It's like, if I tell you I'm going to help you and I'm going to support you, I feel like I'm investing. I'm investing in your life. I'm investing in this thing that you are so excited about. Or maybe you're not excited, but it's something that you got to get done. If I commit to that, I feel like I'm investing in the relationship between you and I. And that investment, that rolls out to me being able to pick the phone up 2-3 months from now when I'm having a horrible day and I need to talk to somebody. And, maybe that person will remember, like, damn, he took the time out of his day. He helped me come load this U-Haul truck and move all my shit. But we have to do better, people. Like, we have to do better. Our lives can't be so overly consumed with everything that just gets in the way of showing support and being committed to people that you say you care about. That's not a healthy way to live. It's not cool. It's not acceptable. It's just disheartening. And, it's been tough these past few months. Thankfully, I've had enough client, and the client base has grown exponentially every month since I opened up, with my work, my tattoos, the show of support from this community, the people around here who don't even know me, to show up, to show out, to show their commitment and support by just showing up. We've had people bring us dinner. We've had, people come in and they just want to hang out and be in here because it's such a like a homely feel, a comforting space to be in,
And when I first met you, that's exactly what you told me you wanted it to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Bro, when you walk in here, are you not comfortable? Like, seriously?
No, yeah. It's an incredibly, I don't even know what the word. It kind of reminds me of like an old jazz club almost. The vibe is just so.
Damn, bro, that's great.
So low, so chill.
That's a perfect depiction. Yes, absolutely. If we could dim the lights.
Yeah. If you could keep all the sunlight out.
Right, and put on some, Boney James or something like that. Boy, this definitely would be a nice jazz spot. But that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted it to be comfortable and welcoming and warming to people. So, but the community at large, like I said, has shown great support, and I'm thankful for that. And, I am totally transparent with people. Jay, I think you can attest to this. I don't hide the fact that, I'm a convicted felon. I've been to prison. I'm in a mixed race relationship, with Katrina, wonderful, wonderful woman, love her to death.
I would argue it was probably the first thing you told me.
Yeah,
it was pretty straight up.
Because I don't want anyone to feel like I am creating a facsimile or facade of who I am. You know, it's like if there was these designer shoes that were super hot, you know, and everybody wanted them and like everybody was flocking to buy them no matter how much it was. And then you found out that Ku Klux Klan made them, or they were sponsored by some Nazi regime.
I feel like pretty much every product today, you're risking that because it always inevitably comes out that they were doing something.
Something, right? So that's a deterrent. That makes you look back and be like, whoa, I don't want to support that. So that's why I'm upfront with people. That's why I am blatantly honest with people when I meet them and they come in here. Because I don't want a week, a month, an hour goes by and you hear something or you find out something and you're like, but you didn't tell me that. You know what I'm saying?
Right, kind of feel like you're hoodwinked.
You never mentioned that you were, you know, a felon or anything like that. Like, it is super important to me to be transparent. I don't want anyone to feel hoodwinked, you know, or lied to, man, you know. And I think people really appreciate that.
I mean, I know I definitely did because, like, yeah, just like you're saying, if I had found out down the line, it would have had a much more of like
a
an
different impact.
Well, and on top of that, you know, if you actually tell me, you can kind of tell me not exactly what happened, but what the situation looks like. Whereas if I don't know and I just hear something,
Yeah.
I'm sitting there going, I don't know what the situation is. It could be this or it could be, you know.
Right.
Tiny. I'm sorry, I'm not on camera, so that wasn't very clear. But
no, I know what you
it
mean.
could be a big reaction or a small reaction, and you don't really know.
Right, and I mean, and this is what's crazy. Like, I have my whole criminal file here, bro. Like, I went that far. I keep that shit on file at my desk in my computer. So if anybody needs to see black and white, I spin the computer around, go ahead and read it. Listen, I ain't got shit to hide. I just want people to know that what they are supporting is a healthy product, that it is a healthy business. We are here for the community. I've told you that. I've told everybody that. Like, we're only as good as the community around us.
Well, yeah, and the community, you know, they kind of got to support this kind of thing because you know, the alternative is just going back to jail or going back to that life. And why shouldn't we want people to build businesses to?
It's so sad that people are still stuck in that mind state, Justin, that, oh, he's a criminal. I'm not supporting him because his money could be going back to drugs or, well, damn, come in here and find out. Get to know me. You know, I spend 14 to 16 hours in this place a day. I'm always with my lady, or I'm always in the community doing something. That tells you right there. That should show you enough. You know, people are always saying, well, I need to see actions rather than words. Well, I'm showing you by my actions where the money is going, where my time and efforts are being placed at, back in the community, showing support for the people and businesses around me.
Well, yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but, you know, doing something like this is probably far harder to make a good profit than it would be to do something illegal.
100%.
So you look at it and it's like you're making the harder choice here. Support that.
Listen, and again, people hear me. I don't promote selling narcotics or anything like that, but it would be super easy for me to make a phone call and in a week's time, you know, making 5-10 grand a day like it was nothing.
And I think that's, you know, a lot of people, it's just easier. It just is.
But it's terrifying to me. And that's what I'm trying to get across and convey to people. Like, that is that self-love that I now have, that newfound thing. Because before, my sister can attest to this. I have told my sister on several occasions when I was facing jail time or before I was about to break some damn law, she'd be like, think about this, boy, you getting ready, you could go to jail for 5 years. And I'm like, well, shit, I can do 5 years. Like, how insane is that? How in the hell can you tell yourself you know anything about love or you love yourself or care about yourself when you willingly walk into the line of fire? Like, that's astronomically backwards, bro.
Right, like the risk that comes with that ease doesn't seem worth it.
Exactly. You know, listen, I have so many friends, and yes, I'm gonna say friends because these are people that I know I can still call on today, you know, and they would come in the drop of a hat if I needed them, you know, and some of these people are still in the streets. They're still, you know, doing their thing or what have you. We're not gonna get into, you know, technical issues or what have you, details. But they have like said to me, bro, I am so proud of you for doing something that I'm afraid to do. And it was, bro. It was scary as shit starting this business, but more so, I think I wasn't afraid to fail. A part of me was afraid to succeed because I had never understood or have yet to understand this level of success. Like, yeah, I had this huge building, you know, it's like almost 7,000 square feet. We got multiple floors, you know, there's so much to look at and so much to do when you come in this building. And like people would walk in here and be like, oh shit, you are successful. You really doing it. And, you know, it's not that simple. You know, it's not all peaches and cream, you know. Like I said, from month to month, it's been tough, you know, starting up. But to look at the other side of this, Justin, bro, I remember sitting in my cell. Before I came home, I was in Hagerstown. They call it the old jail, you know. And I've been in every prison in the state of Maryland.
Oh wow.
Seriously. I've spent years, not short periods, but years in every prison in the state of Maryland. From Jessup, from the Cut, all the way to Hagerstown. Every prison in Hagerstown, ECI, all that. But when I left Hagerstown, I can remember sitting in Hagerstown, and if anybody listening to this has ever been there, those cells, like, it's dungeon-esque, bro. It is an old castle. It was built by prisoners, right? And it's all quarry stone and concrete and steel. Your window is like chicken wire. There's barely any air that comes through the windows. You have this little window in your door that's about a 6x8 picture frame that you can look out of, and that even has bars on it, so you can't even like reach out or do anything. The cell is about 6 foot wide by maybe 9 feet, 8.5, 9 feet. Now in that cell, you got 2 huge bunk beds, steel, a stainless steel toilet with a sink, 2 desks, 2 TVs if you're privileged enough to have it, and then you got crates and bins for commissary and clothes and cosmetics. How in the hell could 2 grown-ass men live comfortably in that condition? I tell you, because you submit to your surroundings, bro. And it's disparaging. That shit broke me down this time because I was in my 40s, sitting in prison, saying to myself, I told myself years ago I'd never be an old man with a bit. And here I was, the thing that I most hated and wanted to stay away from. And I'm looking at my bunk buddy who's sleeping in my cell, and I'm like, this is not how the fuck I'm supposed to be living, man. This is not, like, the rest of my life is not going to be this. Yeah. Anytime I feel despair, anytime I feel desperation, Jay, I feel like I could go back out and get one more run in the streets. I swear, bro, I close my eyes and I think about that night sitting in that cell. We spend 22 hours a day in that cell. 22 hours for years. Bro, I would not wish that on my worst enemy, man.
I mean, that sounds pretty blatantly like psychological torture.
Bro, and that's, I mean, that's a regular cell. Now think about if you get in a fight or you get caught with some contraband and you go on lockup. Now they strip everything from you, and all you got is a bunk, a toilet, and your cosmetics. No commissary. You can't order commissary except hygienes, cough drops, shit like that, you know. And all you're looking forward to is your mail and a shower. You know, your 1 hour rec a day that they by law have to give you. So you get to go out and walk this little ass dog cage, you know, do some push-ups, burpees, sit-ups, whatever, you know, or holler at your man who's on lockup with you. That is psychological torture, bro. Psychological torture. Like Obama when he was in office, and I know I'm not going political with this, I'm just making a statement. You know, he signed a law that said state and federal prison could not put people in lockup for longer than 90 days at a time pending an investigation. Years ago, back in 2003, I was up the new jail in Hagerstown, MCTC. And I had got into an altercation, you know, got caught with a knife, and I went on lockup. Bro, I got 18 months on lockup.
Jeez. It's a year and a half.
I know guys, Justin, who have spent 10 fucking years on lockup.
Jeez.
Can you imagine what that person feels like when they open the door to finally let him back out on the compound?
Yeah, and like, who's gonna know?
No.
Like, you know, you're saying it now. You're sharing that information, but otherwise they can just do that, and who knows?
That's my thing, bro. And I'm gonna talk a bunch about that, you know, in the months to come, bro, because I want to shed a lot of light on the corrupt shit that's going on in the prison system, bro. Some people, you know, I'm sure if the powers that be get a hold of this and they hear it, they're going to be pissed off. But I ain't saying nothing that ain't out there already that people don't know. It's just ain't nobody doing shit about it. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen the good old boys. Back in the day, they used to call them, these COs in Hagerstown, man, they would fuck you up. They would beat the shit out you. And when I say beat, I'm talking broken jaws, knock your teeth out, break your arms, like sick the dogs on you. Send you to the infirmary. You get all fixed up and dressed up. They keep you in there. Your parents, if people would come to visit you, and they would tell your people, oh, he got transferred. Well, where'd y'all send him? Well, I don't know. He was on the transfer list. He, you know, try Jessup. So then they try to contact them. You know what I'm saying? And we don't know where he's at. He's not down here. So for a month or 2 months, you looking for him. All the while, they're nursing you back to health. So then when you finally get to see your people, your family on a visit, you can tell them all you want that they beat your ass, but there's no proof.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen. Multiple times, bro. So it is all of those things, though. You feel me? Those are the deterrents that keep my ass from going back out in them streets.
Right.
It's not worth it. It's not. And I say to anybody listening to this shit, bro, think about the worst fucking day you spent in that joint and really tell yourself, is that what I want to go back to? Because it's only getting worse. It's only getting worse. They're doing things to make you so fucking comfortable in there right now, but taking so much from you that they're brainwashing you to feel like, sure, I can do this. I mean, come on, man. I had a fucking Xbox. I had a PlayStation. I had an MP3 player, a USB port that we was buying from COs, you know, and fuck, any movie I wanted, I could give it back to him, throw him a couple dollars. He'll burn some movies onto this USB port and then bring it back into me. And then, you know, I could rent it out. You know, we could get multiple ones, sell them $500, $700, $1,000. You know, prison is a cash cow for people who can maneuver the system the right way. And a lot of people, especially for the lifers, shout out to all my brothers doing life in prison. I got love for you guys, man. You know, and a lot of this is for y'all that I'm going to be talking about for prisons, because many of you will never see this side of the wall again. And I just want you to know you're not forgotten. And I know that y'all still struggling in there. And to just, you know, keep your head up and keep moving forward, man. There's so much more that you can accomplish. Don't get down on yourself thinking that, you know, I got life in prison. What can I do? What good can I be? You got kids. Some of y'all still got kids and, you know, families. And some of you are great businessmen, started businesses and things like that, bro. So stay strong. Keep pushing. My homeboy Monster, it's a great dude, bro. He taught me a great deal in the time that I was up Hagerstown this last time. And he's younger than me. But this brother was so, what's the word, man? He was just so in tune with what it took to stay out of prison. And that's kind of hypocritical. It's like an oxymoron. You got life in prison, but you got the blueprint to stay out. Yeah. And it took for him to be placed in that setting. And it's like he's affiliated, and I'm gonna leave it at that. So a lot of the people that are under him, these younger cats that got like short bits, he pulls them up and like they mandatory workouts every day. You got to come to the yard every day. You got to work out. We all going to train together. It's like a boot camp. You know, y'all got homework. You got to study. If school is available, you got to take your ass to school. You know what I'm saying? And he just digs in. Like, y'all got family? Here, you got to write a letter a week. You got to do this. You got to do that. You know, focus on what you're doing when you get out of here. So it's crazy, and I'm going to bring it back to the support thing. It's crazy to find support from people that are never coming home. You're getting more support from them than the people is on the damn street. Because I still got homeboys calling me from prison. You feel me? Like, I don't have a lot of money to just send my homeboys and stuff, but a lot of times it's like my homeboy Slugger just told me. He was like, Kane, bro, it ain't about the money. It's a phone call. People just want to know that they can be heard, that they can dial a number, and you're going to press 1.
Well, I imagine especially in that situation, because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but if they don't answer, you got nobody to talk to.
You got nobody to talk to, bro, and it drives you crazy. Once you lose touch with the outside world, your mental state slowly collapses, bro. It slowly deteriorates. You know, you see it in a lot of the older guys in prison whose family has died. They've been locked up 40, 50 years. You know, or families just disown them. And now the only family they have are other lifers that they've spent 25, 30 years with. So their ability to even understand what is going on in the world is not there.
Well, when you think about how much like the world has changed in the last 25 years, it's like, I don't know, I can't even imagine having to experience all those things from that outside perspective, because like you even think about technology, it's like you'd be coming out and you would have no idea what any of this is,
bro,
and what's going on.
Listen, I had my neighbor, when I first got up to Hagerstown, when I first got up to the old jail, got down on the tier, because it was during COVID, so you had to go through like this quarantine process for 2 weeks on lockup, and then they put you on the tier, right? So I'm on the tier, and my neighbor is an old dude. I can't remember the brother name, Clay, I think it was. Oh, good older cat. You know, he's about 76, 77, and he had been down 41 years. Every day during count time, you could hear him playing like the Delphonics, the Stylistics, the Supremes, you know. And like, I love that music. Don't get me wrong. I came up listening to my dad, my mom, all my aunts and uncles playing that music, right? And I'd be like, you know, because we called him Unc, you know. So we'd be like, Unc, come on, man, turn that shit down. He like, man, I'm in a zone. I'm going back. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where his mind still is. That's the only reality, a part of life that he can remember. He don't know nothing about the damn 80s, nothing about the 90s, nothing about the 2000s or the 2020s, bro.
When you think about technology, I mean, that all happened within that
In that
period
window,
of time. I mean, computers came into existence during that time.
He still had, they got flat screen TVs in prison now, 15 and 17 inch TVs, right? Flat screens. They cheap as shit, but they charge you an arm and leg for them. But anyway, he didn't even want a flat screen TV. He still had the old bubble TV from back in the, like, the first time I went to prison was like 97, right? So back then, they had bubble TVs. They ain't had no flat screens. So he still had one of them that he learned to fix and wire it up over the years to keep it working, right? He still had, now he does have a CD player, a boom box, but he won't get an MP3 player because he said, I don't want to have to learn how to figure what buttons to press, and I need to look at the CD and know what I want to listen to, and just, so he strays away from the technological era. Yeah. You feel me? And, you know, so again, we can take that back to support. So what about the men that are spending 50 years in prison? They come home and, you know, the prison system, only the Federal Bureau of Prisons has a mandatory release program. So when you leave the feds, you have to go to a halfway house, right? It's a reentry phase. Some people do it for 90 days. Some people do it for 6 months. Some people have to do it for a year, 18 months. And that is for the transition to get you ready for society. And it's based on the length of time that you have spent away. 50 years you spend in prison. Just say 40 years. You come home, you're 65, 70 years old. They put you in a damn transition house for 1 year. There is not enough hours in a day to teach that man all that he needs to figure out that he has lost in 40 years of incarceration. Yeah. He's still going to be lost. But the problem in these transition houses is that they still don't have the necessary shit set up for them to be supported to succeed. I was looking at something, Jay, I'm gonna show it right quick, or not show it, but I'm gonna tell you about it right quick. Okay. So the U.S. Census, right, it says, what is the recidivism rate for black men? It says, thus, black formerly incarcerated males often find it extremely difficult to not return to prison after release. Research has found that 68% of state ex-convicts were rearrested within 3 years, 79% within 6 years, and 83% within 9 years. So think about this, bro. You home for 8 years, and less than 20% of the people make it that came home from prison. Yeah. Black men, right? So now, let's take it a step further. Now, the highest recidivism rate right now amongst all races is American Indians and Alaskan Natives. They face the highest levels of recidivism at 79%, but are only 1% of the total population of the states included. Now, it's so crazy that it says for years the recidivism rate has hovered around 46%. The most recent state report shows the data can show only 700 inmates, right, out of 70,000 released that year earned credit for participating in rehabilitation programs in prison. They had a substantially lower recidivism rate at 23% than those who did not. So even coming home from prison and going to these halfway houses, these reentry houses, that shit is not teaching us what we need to stay out. And a lot of times, there is nothing offered. People, all right, so when you come home from jail now in the state, you can go to like social services, and like they'll give you a food stamp card, right? You might be able to get like $350 a month food stamps or whatever. You might be able to get a furniture voucher if you got a place. Bro, but you gotta jump through hoops, you gotta climb ropes, you gotta swim rivers to get any help for housing, to get really any help getting a job. Like even now, like I'm federally bonded. You know how, bro, it took me months to get a job when I came home this time because of the felonies on my record and having a federal bond for $5 million, meaning the feds will back me. It's like they have an insurance policy on me telling the company if you hire him, we'll ensure that if he steals something or does something like that, we'll cover him. They still don't want to hire you. So what is the end? What is the purpose? The political agenda for that is it looks good on paper. Simple as that. We're going to leave it there.
Right. They did what they needed to do for you, and that's it.
My little cousin, well, I take that back. He's not my little cousin, but I call him my little cousin because he's younger than me. But he is on the precipice of doing something major, and I pray it takes off, starting a reentry program for ex-offenders. Only men, though, right now, only men. And it's not to be disparaging to women or to be like chauvinistic or anything like that. That's not it. We can only focus on what we know. Put it like that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't like realize that, you know, being equals and equality and that kind of thing doesn't mean that we're not different.
Oh, 100%.
It's a different rehabilitation process.
And plus, like, the numbers are staggering. It's like far and few in between. There's one in the state of Maryland. There is one female prison, women's cut, you know, and hell, I think it's 7 or 8 male prisons. You know what I'm saying? Camps and all that stuff that only men are allowed to go to. So, you know, the numbers are there for men returning back to the streets to be rehabilitated. But he wants to focus on the mental aspect side of it. It's not always about, here goes some money for some clothes, here goes some money for a car and a house now, and go succeed. You stated it. Imagine sitting in a cell for all those years, the psychological impact it has.
Well, yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, I feel like the whole point of prison is to break down your mental.
It is.
To destroy that shit.
Listen, I'm going to parallel it to slavery. It's modern day slavery, bro. And I'm not going to get on this race thing. And I can even support that with facts. Right now, there's 53%. In the total population of races in prison, whites, right now, take up 53.3% of the total populace of prisoners. Black men, it's 48.6. So we can't necessarily just keep hanging on the race card. You in prison, you in prison. I ain't going down the race avenue right now. We not going there, right? But it is slavery, bro. You look at what slavery was 500 years ago. It was to divide the family, right? You make the woman carry the load. You put the men out to the field the women were in the field too, but you emasculate the male. In front of the children and in front of the wife. So now the wife becomes like the backbone of the family, which is dividing the whole premise of family structure to begin with. Not saying that women can't wear the pants, but if the husband looks like he ain't got no backbone, I don't know many women want a man with no backbone. You know what I'm saying? But it's the same way with prison. You send them to prison, regardless of the crime, you're giving them a sentence, and you putting some of these guys, bro, who have minor crimes, petty thefts, in with multiple murderers, homicidal maniacs, like schizophrenics, people suffering from severe anxiety and depression and like alienism. Bro, they just lash out at any given moment. So now you got this young cat in there serving a 3-year sentence with lifers who don't give a fuck about you going home. They mad at that. You dig what I'm saying? And you walking around constantly talking about, I got a release date coming up. I've seen cats get their heads bust open for talking about that around dudes who got life. Yeah. I've seen people, they put baby oil inside of a coffee hot pot and dump it on this cat one time for trying to talk slick to this old dude, telling them, bro, you gonna die here. I go home in a couple years. You don't know, no, you can't tell me nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, for you to go that far, that tells you right. It's not just disrespect. I'm talking about on the part of the old guy.
Yeah.
How messed up psychologically do you got to be to think about putting baby oil in a hot pot, boil it, and then walk over and pour it on another human being's head?
Yeah, that's like, I don't want to use the word creative because I feel like that's wrong, but that's an incredibly creative way to hurt someone.
I mean, listen, bro. Prison desensitizes you. It makes you cold. It takes away all sense of emotion, to show weakness. Of course, it's just, for anyone who's even never been to prison, it would only make sense. You can't go into an environment like that and show weakness. You can't go in there and show passivity. You come in there, you don't want any problems, but somebody takes something from you. You have to stand up for yourself or it's going to continue and get worse. Now, granted, you could lose your life over $10 in commissary. So you say to yourself, I got 3 years to do. Do I stand up to this guy and possibly get killed? Or do I go into protective custody and live in a cell by myself with nothing for the next 3 years? It's forcing men and women alike, kids alike, to make decisions that are only pushing them to a greater of extent of criminality. That's the part that the political system doesn't get. You lock them up, throw away the key, and, it's not enough correctional officers no more. There is no such thing as rehabilitation in prisons. The fucking caseworkers are a joke. You know, half of them are fucking, they just lucky that they was never locked up or got caught, you know, or they'd be in prison. And then now, and this is going to probably sound, I guess you could call it racist or whatever, but most of the prisons, the guards now are African, okay? And I trust and believe I have nothing against Africans whatsoever. But the COs that I have come across, the mass majority of them hate Americans, bro. They look at, and this is verbatim, I have heard a CO, an African CO, I think he was from Cameroon, told another guy, another inmate, the reason I don't like you is because you're black and you're a fuck up. So my job is to keep you here. What?
That's not any CO's job.
The reason that the Division of Corrections started hiring mass numbers of Africans or people that aren't of like local citizenry or what have you,
Right, like immigrants.
is because it's harder for the inmate populace to get close to them. See, when I first came into prison, almost every CO in the jail knew a whole lot of people in the prison. We grew up on the same block together. Hell, we broke law together. We might have drunk or smoked some weed together. We might have done it. I might have dated your sister. So, bro, I need you to do me a favor. Or, oh, you don't want to do this for me? Bro, don't forget I know where your mother live at. I'll send my boys over there or what have you. Once the system started to see that the sway that the inmates had on the officers, they cut that shit out, bro. And then they brought in, you know, the immigrants. And it's made the prison whole atmosphere horrible. Because truth be told, and this is on some real shit, they are lazy as hell. 90% of the officers, bro, in the Division of Corrections today, white, black, African, whatever you want to call it, they lazy as shit. They come to work looking like a hot ass mess. They don't, shoes ain't tied. They dirty, you know, they talk ignorant, cuss you out. Even if you trying to be polite, you know, they snap at you. Just get in your cell, shut the fuck up. Like, it's dehumanizing, bro. So it's just, it's very disheartening. But again, back to that whole thing with the support. Like, we have to do better, man, for people who are trying to do better. How can we fail each other like that? How is it that you can't show support for somebody who has completely shown you that they are changed?
Well, I'm going to stop saying correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just going to assume you will correct me if I'm wrong. But, I imagine the majority of these CO officers are not people who go, I want to make a difference. I want to help someone change. They are people who want power, who want to be in charge. They're people who are, they're the same people who become doctors and police officers. They want to have a degree of control that most people do not have.
You're absolutely correct, Justin. So, and I'm a piggyback that. We found a questionnaire one time. We were cleaning admin's office, repainting it, and we found a questionnaire for new hirees, right? One of the questions on there is, do you have any loved ones incarcerated, right? And if you say yes, the next part to that question was, do you care? Now, I asked some COs that I knew, right, from over the years. I asked them about that. And they conveyed to me, if you marked, yes, I have family or somebody I know was locked up, and yes, I do care that they're locked up. You were almost certain to not get hired.
Yeah, that's crazy, and it sounds to me like they're not even trying to pussyfoot around it. They're
Listen, that you can't. They will justify, excuse me, they will justify that by saying, oh, well, it's a deterrent to come to prison then. Don't come to prison if you don't want to be with a CO who doesn't care about you. Well, it's a little late for that shit now because I'm already locked up.
yeah, and the people who haven't gone to prison don't know that.
Exactly. So again, that's why I'm trying to shed some light on some of these things. And trust and believe, man, anybody who has faith in our justice system, I'm sorry, but you are blind. 100% blind. The justice system does not fucking work. Now, albeit, you know, these mass murderers, these people that go shoot up schools, that just kill people randomly on the streets, you know, they just had this officer in one of these counties out here around in Pennsylvania, a police officer. I think I told you about that. Police officer. He was arrested for raping and molesting a 13-month-old baby of his girlfriend. His girlfriend then tried to take the baby to the daycare as if nothing was wrong. So let me compound that issue. The daycare people were wondering why the little girl could not stop crying. So when they tried to coddle her and hold her and all this, she was acting real sensitive. They called in somebody to check her. Bro, she had a dislocated hip and a broken leg. They ended up doing, a welfare check on her, saw that she had been abused, went back to the mother. The mother lied. I think the story was, and if somebody knows more detail, please chime in and correct me. I think she said she dropped her or she fell somehow. And then when they pressed her more, right, like you going to jail and all this other shit, she directed him to the police officer, her boyfriend. Well, when they questioned him, he didn't deny it at all. Yeah, she was with me all day. Now, he didn't necessarily confess, but he was like, yeah, she sustained those injuries with me, right? They released this man on $200,000 bail. Now, why do you think they did that? Because he was a cop? Because he was a white man? I mean, hell, it could be both. It could be none of those things.
Well, even if you want to just say it was money, it could even just be that.
But anybody who can say that they have faith in the justice system, I don't want to hear that shit. Oh, well, you're innocent until proven guilty. Get the fuck out of here.
That's not how the cops act
Listen,
when they find something.
I can
somebody
show
doing
you on
something
paper.
guilty.
I've been convicted of 2 crimes that I never did. I've been convicted of 2 crimes. I can show you on paperwork. I got the Innocence Project working on one of them for me right now. So that's bullshit. They can draw up whatever facts that they want. If you don't have the money and the defense, your ass is gone. It's as simple as that. And if you already have a track record or a record of any kind, in their eyes, you're guilty.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. That's one of the reasons you can't plead innocent. That law was changed back in the 30s, 40s. There's only a guilty and a not guilty. You can't plead innocent. Why would they take that right away from us?
Yeah, that makes no sense.
It makes no sense. If I'm innocent until proven guilty, why can't I contest and stand on the fact that I'm innocent? Not guilty. What? No. I'm not arguing that. And the verbatim in that law of people, if you will go in and read it, you will see that it is still geared towards a guilty conviction. They present and tie so much into it that you up shit's creek, you know. So I say to anyone, bro, go out and get a fucking job at McDonald's, but do not go to prison. Like, it's not where the hell it's at, because if you feel like you ain't got the support or the backing now, the hell you think you're going to have when you go to jail or prison? It's worse, you know? And it's just so sad that here we go again talking about it. The state of Maryland, they got new law out now. You get caught doing certain shit, like they giving you two options. We can prosecute you, send you to jail, prosecute you, or this option B, you know, we'll relocate you, or we'll get you a job, or, you know, we'll put you up here.
I don't want to cut you short, but I am running out of disk space, so we're going to have to call it soon.
Yep, no problem. I'm going to close it up. So it's just, they just don't have no place to put people. So why don't you just start cutting people loose that don't need to be in fucking prison? Yeah. You know, like small drug offenders.
Yeah,
like,
the guy who got caught with pot in his car.
Yeah, like, are you kidding me, bro? Like, it just, everything has to be burnt down, bro. Like, they start forest fires on purpose sometimes so that new growth comes up more plush. That's what they need to do with the fucking legal system in the state of Maryland. Burn it the fuck down and rebuild that shit from the ground up, you know. But listen, I got so much more to say about this. I'm thinking we're gonna have to carry it over because there was some other points that I wanted to touch on. So I appreciate you, Jay, especially, you know, for your input, you know, those words of wisdom and your insight, man. It's always good to have a talking body. So, and, you know, for all of my, you know, would-be listeners and all my listeners and followers, I love you. I appreciate you. Continue to listen and follow. Send in those remarks, questions, concerns, corrections, everything under the sun. Also, you want to get up to the shop. It's Taking Art to the Streets, LLC, and Incoronata Insights and Enlightenment at 43 Carlisle Street in Hanover, Pennsylvania, 17331. You can call the shop, 717-759-9591. I look forward to seeing some of you soon. And my others who have continued to say, oh, we'll be there. Well, like Motel 6, we'll leave the light on for you. This is Kane, once again, signing off from Uncut, here with my man Jay. Big shout out to Optic Audio once again for the great work. I pray you guys have a wonderful week and be blessed. I'm out.